Let's look for interesting opportunities in the market. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. So let's just begin let's go to the bottom of the list here. So we will look at items for which there are leveraged products. Let's actually begin here with Bitcoin. See what's the status there. Nice big move here in Bitcoin. So the key thing is that we were fighting this 200-week moving average in red. Slipped below it a bit, rather dangerous, but now we are firmly above, so that's bullish. Let's look at the seasonality here for Bitcoin. Pretty decent seasonality. Looking here to the left, but here's the big benefit of looking both at the chart view to the left and the table view to the right, because July is a very strong month. Could be sort of like the anticipation of July that we are seeing now. I see that there's a bit of a correction here in silver, so let's jump to the silver futures. This is interesting. So a bit of a pullback here in silver. I think I will analyze silver in this episode. Okay, let's do it like that. So silver is the candidate. Looking at the silver futures, you also have the SLV, the ETF. So let me draw it in. So the blue 100-week moving average, it has been support in the past, also back here. It's currently tested as a support. It's a pretty interesting moving average. Data is delayed. Why is data is delayed by 10 minutes to get real time? Let's look at SLV. Do I get delayed then as well? Yeah, okay, so in this case we don't get the delayed with the SLV. Anyway, the blue 100-week moving average is interesting here as well as the support. We also have, so it's not like an inverse head and shoulders pattern as such, because here is where you had the right shoulder. Now we are sort of forming a second right shoulder, which is not textbook, but then it's interesting. It's a level that where you find the similar kind of logic that you find with like an inverse head and shoulders pattern, even though there's a bit of a sign of a weakness that we haven't seen a rally that prevented a further test. The red 200-day moving average is a very big deal here on the daily data points. Recently was resistance. Currently, it's definitively interesting as a potential support level. When we zoom in, we see that today the bears went down there, so we are actually off to the races now. Not saying this is like the ultimate bottom for silver, but the fact is that we do certainly see a hammer forming. Bulls are buying silver, basically. On the weekly RSI and the PPOs, very sort of like in the middle. Some weakness in MACD, but that is explained by the messy inverse head and shoulders pattern. Accumulation distribution has actually, there's actually a bullish divergence here between accumulation distribution and price action, meaning that there are definitively buyers here. A sell signal on MACD, a bit messy RSI. Okay, so what we do have here is, it's a 100 VMA support. Let me also, and 200 DMA support. So major TA support here. I think I will give the bulls, I give them a 5. It's not a super clean support level, but it's definitively more bullish than bearish. Next, we will look at the seasonality for silver. Looking here to the left with the chart view. So in red is the last 10 years, blue the last 7 years, and green the last 5 years. So from the 22nd of June, basically, which is tomorrow, the bullish seasonality usually starts for silver. Pretty darn interesting. Looking at June in the table view, not really bullish. Minus 3% so far, but that also means that maybe a meaningful portion of the bearishness of June is already priced in. Looking at July, July is substantially more bullish. August is a bit of a mess. It can be very bullish or pretty bearish. So seasonality is more bullish than bearish. I think I will give the bulls a 4 here on the seasonality. It's interesting. I wish it was cleaner, but it is what it is. When it comes to the fundamentals, I do use another tool for that kind of analysis. I can't share that, but that tool would basically put me at 4 on the fundamentals as well. Fundamental analysis for precious metals is very, very messy. There's a lot of noise in that space. So let's look at some leveraged silver ETFs. If this page is interested in, yeah, here it is. Okay. So we only have 2, it seems. We have the Ultra Silver AGQ from ProShares. Let's see whether there's any. Yeah, maybe this is the place. So here is the total assets part, very important for liquidity. So yeah, AGQ, then you have Ultra Short Silver, ZSL. So let's get the data here. EGQ, yes, that's the one if you are feeling bullish. Then you had ZSL, okay. Long term, we do have a 7% positive correlation with S&P 500, 91% with AGQ, the bullish ETF, 2x leveraged. Let me just check the level of leverage because it's been a bit messy. Quite a few who had 3 times went to 2. Yeah, 2x, and this is also, yeah, 2x. Okay, so 91% positive correlation long term. It's pretty good. It means that yes, there are tracking errors here, but you can hold it for like more than 1 day. But yeah, 9% tracking error. It is still a meaningful tracking error, so pay attention if you are going to hold it for multiple days. ZSL, the minus 2x bearish silver ETF, minus 46% negative correlation with very substantial tracking errors. Daily data points, 35% with S&P 500, 98% with AGQ, minus 99% with ZSL. So short term, they do their job, tracks pretty well. It's just that, especially the bearish ETF, it has a bit of a tendency to have tracking errors. So be aware of that. Let's look at GLD. Compare it against gold. That's the classical comparison. So 53% long term. Short term 74%. So yeah, what happens with gold is very likely going to have an effect on silver. Gold is correcting, but gold is not as far in its corrective phase as silver. Gold did attempt a breakout, but it was very ambitious and it isn't working out. Just too much too fast. Gold is losing the blue 100-day moving average, so there could be a more substantial correction in gold. Seasonality is pretty good though for gold here to the left. To the right, June is a weak month, but July and also August are pretty strong, so that's pretty interesting, frankly, for gold. Okay, so now let's compare silver against gold, SLV against GLD. Messy RSI level just in the neutral zone. Looking at price itself here, the silver gold ratio, we are at horizontal support. Very long term actually. We are testing a level that was tested way back here in the more mature phases of the global financial crisis. Daily data points, a bit noisy RSI level and also price action here as well is at the horizontal support-ish level. Seasonality is favorable for silver here. So yeah, it does have a bit of a tendency to outperform gold, especially in July here. So that definitively is a feather in the cap for silver. So when it comes to relative performance, so the leveraged ETFs, they work. So it's the one that gives you 2 times bullish exposure to silver. Yeah, interesting. Relative performance score here. I think I would give. I think I give the bulls a 6 here. So we end up with 4.8 in favor of the bulls. The key level here is that we have 100 weekly moving average and 200 daily moving average support. That's the entry signal. We did find some bullish data on seasonality, fundamentals, and the relative performance. So the conditions here are interesting for silver. One of the other ways to get exposure to silver is to look at the silver miners. They are also pretty interesting, but in this case we focused on silver, the SLV, and the bullish leveraged ETF from ProShares. I think that when it comes to this whole debate about silver versus gold, it's important to be aware that gold is the real precious metal. When you look at like Fort Knox and other places of like super high importance, it's always about gold or even diamonds. Silver, it is a precious metal, but it's not in any way sense a precious metal like gold is a precious metal. So it's just something to just be conscious of, because I see a lot of people like they prefer to stack physical silver because they can get a lot more. But the entire point of say buying a physical precious metal is that it's a way to very easily transport values without it weighing a lot, and you can have a lot of value in the form of gold or diamonds and put it in a very small container, relatively small, but that is not really the case with silver. So yeah, whatever you do, of course, in the market, be market neutral, let the trend be your friend, and stay tuned for more from Diamond Arm. And of course, you can go to the website in the meantime.